Boom! What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is back. All right, and we know it's the bye week. We know everyone's at home and they're watching Red Zone because they don't really have a vested interest in any of these other bum-ass teams playing today. But we're here to bring you guys some fun. We're going to talk about what is going on with the 49ers so far. My man Nick is here. My man Stefan is here. How you gentlemen doing? Let's kick it off with Nick first. What's going on, man? You've been MIA for I don't know how long. How you been, man? Glad to see you're still breathing. You starting shit on Twitter this morning. Like, what's up with you, man? What's going on, Nick? How you doing?
I'm just keeping it real, man. It's a little bit of a world, but nothing I can't get over. It's like our 1-9 season, you know, nothing we can get over. So just kicking back right now. Appreciate the love from the fam and the fans. You know, not holding that against me, but I'm back, man. I'm ready to go. We're roaring.
I like that. And Stefan, what about you, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm almost back from my cold. I caught last week, but I'm feeling great right now, and it's finally a weekend without stress.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. Rest is important, man. Rest is important not only for us, but for our beloved 49ers. Those guys have been working hard at getting their asses kicked, and we finally get to do a little ass kicking. And then as soon as we get a win, the Niners take a break. Like, what's up with that? How do we suffer and endure all this consistent losing back to back? We finally get a W, and they're like, all right, we out. They're just gone. I didn't like that, man.
It's better than the last game of the season.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Making us wait an entire all season until we see them the next time. So yeah. I think we should do a little bit of reflecting. I think it's only right that we talk about all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. I want us to talk about some head coaching and things like that. But then, more importantly, I want to talk about when we're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo. So, Nick, I'm actually going to kick it off with you. I'm going to let you decide where we're going to start with this whole thing. I'm going to go on mute while you're talking, so that way, in case you're hearing feedback from me picking up your microphone, you won't hear it. So you go ahead and kick us off, and then we'll bounce it over to Stefan, and we'll go from there. While all that is happening, I'm going to pull up the comment section so we can see what is actually going on and what the people are saying. All right?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So my reflection back right now, I'm going to start with the general manager. I'm going to start with the general manager only because I think this reflection of this team, I don't want to say, I guess I could say the camaraderie with this team. You're 0-9, you win your first game. But, man, that locker room, like juju that they had going on after our first win, had me super pumped. I mean, it had me super pumped. It showed me how much this team believes in the front office, in the coaching staff, how happy they were for him. You know, the sad tragedy that Marquise Goodwin went through, he didn't say anything to anybody. He played through it. You know, the way the organization handled that situation, you know, mad props to them as well. But seeing our general manager shaking hands coming into the locker room all year long, you think, that's just a show. But when he's in the middle of the pile, jumping around, acting like batshit crazy with all these players, that's got me super hyped, man. That shows me that this team is 100% fully behind John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, and this coaching staff. So that's definitely a positive for me right now, man. I really believe that we're heading in the right direction. I know our record doesn't show that, but I definitely believe that we are headed in the right direction, and I think John Lynch is definitely a great person to have at the reins, and his ability to work with Kyle Shanahan, I believe, is going to show its true colors, and it's going to be nothing but the best for him.
Stefan, man, is there anything you want to add about that? I mean, I have a ton of thoughts on John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, their relationship as well, but I want to see what you want to talk about with that also.
Yeah, so I completely agree with Nick. What John Lynch, and especially it's the entire staff. It's Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, Adam Peters, all the guys they brought in, and how they coached so far, and how the team is bonding together. It's just beautiful to see, despite our win-loss record. But it's really difficult to finally have a locker room or to finally have an organization in its entirety that appears to be functional. We haven't had that in like 3 years at least. The Harbaugh years weren't exactly always the best either in that regard, but this finally like a real organization again.
My bad. I keep forgetting to unmute. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. This feels like a real locker room. Something that, not that other locker rooms didn't feel like real locker rooms. When Harbaugh first came, I felt like there was a big sincerity going on there. The new wave of winning consistently. And we started that season. If I'm not mistaken, we started that season like 1-2. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like we were winning right away, but then we hit that 7 or 8 game win streak during that season, and all of a sudden everyone started to buy in. It's weird because this year, and even during the losses, you know what I mean? And Joe Staley is someone who's come out and said, that win felt as good as the NFC Championship game. And to say something like that, knowing that we are nowhere near that caliber of a team right now, it says a lot. These guys all support each other. You could another thing that you could see, they've put together such a good team. John Lynch, and that's what we're talking about here, is like Nick mentioned, what was going on with Marquise Goodwin and how after that touchdown he got emotional in the end zone. You saw players like Eric Reed, a defensive player, from the sideline run all the way out there to be with him and comfort his compadre. He was out there just to make him feel better, make him feel welcome. It's a very special dynamic that they have going on here in this locker room. Guys who sincerely care about each other. You know what I mean? So it's something very, very special to see, man. I love that you kicked this off there, Nick. It's something that's good, and I think it's going to bode well for this team presently as well as in the future. I think it's going to be something that other people see, and they're going to want to be a part of. I think that free agents are suddenly going to want to come to San Francisco. You know what I mean? I think that when people leave here, if we don't re-sign somebody, they're going to understand it's not going to be any hard feelings or anything like that. These people are going to understand, like, this is what it's about. I love those guys over there, but X, Y, and Z. They're gonna move on without any kind of malice. Not gonna be bad mouthing this organization like some other players were doing once they left here. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna be something that reflects well. And Nick, I'm gonna bounce it back to you. The trickle down effect and how that affects Kyle Shanahan, man, because it's not just John Lynch that's doing this. He put the team together with Kyle Shanahan, but it also means something about the coaching and all. Like they haven't abandoned their head coach. They haven't given up on him at all. You can tell.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely tell that this 6-year contract is definitely going to be a 6-year contract. And that's kind of what it tells me. Jed York, is 100% sold on Kyle Shanahan, as well as John Lynch is. But like I said, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen this head coach, general manager, relationship to where they're working together. And it just shows numbers as to what these players actually feel and how they feel about Kyle Shanahan and how excited they were, to give him a game ball and show the excitement of this win and how much they're behind him. And then Elvis Dumervil stopped and gave John Lynch a ball. So this team is really, really buying into this coaching staff. And I know that we're 1-9. I got to get used to saying that, 1-9. We're so used to saying 0 and something. So I got to get used to that 1-9. But, it's the record is the record right now. And it's like, it's really shitty, but there's a lot of positives that we see that this team can build on in the future. And like I said, I'm 100% behind Kyle and John Lynch. I think they're definitely going to get this turned around. It shows a lot of good things for Kyle Shanahan, especially with the backing that he gets from the general manager, the front office, Adam Peters, and the players. So, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think Kyle Shanahan is getting a lot of support from people that we didn't even expect. And I don't know. It just seems like this entire team was bought in. And the Kyle Shanahan needs the support because I still think, and I'm going to bounces back to Stefan afterwards. But I think that we can see some growing pains. Someone as a first-time head coach throughout the season, I've seen some questionable play calls or down and distance where certain play calling and things like that, or when he's deciding to go for it on fourth and punting and things like that. Those kind of things I always question on a regular basis. I just feel like we wouldn't see a veteran head coach doing things like that. But the players haven't faltered and they haven't wavered at all. Stefan, your thoughts on head coach Kyle Shanahan, the job that he's done so far. Before you do that, I see we have Ryan Hudson watching. We got David Lopez. What's going on, fellas? Where's the chat been? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but nothing but Niners, man. We're here. We're back, man, bringing you guys these round tables. If that's what you're referring to, we haven't done a round table in a very long time. Guys were emotional. Maybe guys didn't want to talk 49ers when we were 0 blank, and you can do this for 9 weeks in a row. Maybe they didn't want to talk Niners, but I mean, we're here, we're back. I'm seeing some final predictions here. 3-13 at best. We're going to get to all that stuff, but Stefan, thoughts on your head coach Kyle Shanahan, man?
Yeah, so far I must say honestly, I couldn't be happier with our choice. In the offseason, I was kind of rooting for Josh McDaniels because he perennially has a great offense in New England. But Kyle Shanahan really won me over with basically by the Super Bowl. And just his play calling, I don't really question it a lot, or I question it, but I stand behind it. It's his play calling. He's usually trying to be aggressive, but if he thinks the risks outweigh the positives, he usually stays a little bit more conservative. And I think I can't really complain. There were maybe 1 or 2 or 3 situations all season that I really have an issue with. But you see guys getting open, and it's mostly mostly an issue of execution and less of play calling. So I couldn't really be happier with what Kyle Shanahan is doing. He always seems to be on top of the game. He knows what to run in which situations, and I couldn't be happier.
All right, so you're right. Kyle Shanahan's play designs and all are amazing. And if you sit back and you watch the All-22, you don't even need to see the All-22 to see how he schemes people open. It's more about when he calls certain plays with me. There are times in games where I feel like that when I said I question Kyle Shanahan's play calling, it's not the plays themselves, it's when he calls these plays. Like, we'll abandon the run at ridiculous times. Like the score will be 7-10. And we'll go 4 straight drives without a run play. Like, that kind of shit, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, why? What are you doing? Why are you abandoning the run? And then there are times where we'll see a 3rd and 2. This happened last game, 3rd and 2, and he hands it off to the fullback. Or no, I'm sorry. It was 3rd and 2. He pulls Carlos Hyde out and puts in Matt Breida to run up the middle. We didn't gain it. We gained a yard. Then it's 4th and 1, and then it's a fake handoff or a sneak handoff to Kyle Juszczyk. Like, those are the things that make me say, like, bro, you're doing too much. You're working too hard. You have a running back who is known for yards after contact. If nothing else, that's what Carlos Hyde does well. It's yards after contact. Yeah, we needed 1 yard. Give the ball to Hyde. Don't overthink it. Don't do too much with this play. Just go ahead and give it to Carlos Hyde. I've said that a lot during this season. I'm watching a lot, and I say that a lot.
Yeah, but see, I like the rotation of the 2 backs. Like, Carlos Hyde. I mean, Carlos Hyde he's more of a power type runner, and I understand what you're saying. Like 3rd and 2, I probably would have went with Hyde there, but I like keeping Hyde fresh right now, for certain situations. And Breida, I mean, he's a rookie, so he's learning, but his speed is undeniable. He's so much faster than Carlos Hyde to the outside, like so much faster. So I think it's certain play designs that they rotate those guys in and out. But I mean, this isn't hating on Carlos Hyde either, because I love Hyde. But I think that rotating these two guys is what Kyle Shanahan does. He's always done that. He's always had a two-back type system, and he rotates guys in and out. So, can you believe it? Oh, I thought that
Stefan, I know Stefan wanted to say something about that really quick, and I'm going to rebuttal what Nick said.
Yeah. So in that situation, I've heard several interviews, not specifically to that situation, but in general, Kyle Shanahan says he usually thinks about these plays later in the game. So I don't really, or in that situation, I would have probably also gone to Hyde because it's a short yardage situation and he's just great after contact. I also don't mind mixing it up. I don't know really how to phrase it.
No, let me correct myself. I don't mind switching back and forth between backs, right? But certain situations are ideal for certain running backs. So, like Nick said, and like you said, Matt Breida's speed and his ability to hit the edge and take off is undeniable. And absolutely, he does that better than Carlos Hyde. However, it was 3rd and 2, and it was a handoff up the gut. That's not his strength. That's not what he does well. And then you don't need to fake hand it off to the running back and give it to your fullback because you've done that 3 times this season and it doesn't work. Like those are the reasons when I say, he's outsmarting. It's not so much sitting Hyde or splitting the reps and drives between the running backs. I love that. I recommend and commend him for doing those things. I like seeing Hyde with fresh legs late in the 4th quarter so we can pull off 28-yard runs and things like that. I like seeing that, and I appreciate that. It's just when you outsmart it, it's a 4th and 1 and we're going for it. Why isn't Hyde in the game? He wasn't even in on that play. Like, why wasn't Hyde in there? Like, you're not even giving the facade of it possibly being a handoff to him. And that's when I say he's outsmarting himself. Like, you can have a bruiser. We think about it this way. If that was a Super Bowl, this would be comparable to the Seahawks not handing it off to Marshawn Lynch. Everyone would be killing him for that. It was 4th and 1. It's the same type of situation.
It could be to deceive a defense because Carlos Hyde is in there. You're running the ball 4th and 1. They're going to stack the box. They're going to stack the box anyway. But I'm just saying, like, it could be something like that. I don't know what he's thinking, but like I said, I agree with you on 4th and 1, 3rd and 2s. I think Carlos Hyde should be in the backfield. I mean, he's better going up the middle. He's more of a punisher than Breida is. And unless you're running the ball to the outside, Hyde's got to be in there.
My bad. I agree with you. I'm watching some red zone back here behind me. I almost thought the Giants were going to win this game, but I see that they're not. And I see the Jaguars just got the ball back from Cleveland, so they're going to win that game. I got a couple of pulls and stuff like that going on. So, Stefan, it looked like you wanted to chime in. Was there something else you wanted to get to before I change subjects?
Yes. So I haven't really watched the All-22 from the last game, but we shouldn't forget that Matt Breida is a running back that he's always seen as the fast guy that can break around the edge, but he's also very powerful. So he can also run between the tackles. It's not like he can do it. He can do it all, but it's a matter of execution and blocking also. And I don't really have an issue with the fullback because it looked like it was working, but then our blocks didn't. So it's always, there's more to it than just saying, yeah, Carlos Hyde should have gotten the ball. But there are some situations even Carlos Hyde cannot convert it.
I mean,
I'm not as down on it as you are, but I see your issue.
I was going to say, to be fair, the very first run after the kickoff and then went out of bounds and we got the ball at the 40, the very first run that we had, the blockers blocked for 0 yards and Carlos Hyde bounced it outside for a huge gain up the right sideline. So I'm just saying, I don't know. I just felt like that was the wrong time to do it. But again, I think that these are things that we'll see change throughout time. His first year, he's got to get those kind of things out of his system. You know what I mean? There is a topic that is here in the chat right now that is inevitable, guys. We got to get to it. I don't know if you guys want to get to it right now, but it's the Jimmy Garoppolo topic. It's people want to know when we're going to see him. Jimmy G is probably going to start, even though CJ played good. They need to see what Jimmy can do for the next season. That's a comment from Dave Lopez. Before we get to that, though, San Francisco, see, he got a 6 in there. He said that the win did a lot for the team's morale and confidence. The more comfortable they get in the system, then we will get back to our winning ways. And that's absolutely true. I do want to respond to that in particular before we move on to the Jimmy Garoppolo topic. If you look at what Kyle Shanahan did in Atlanta over his 2 seasons, it took 2 seasons for that team to get a full grasp of what he was trying to bring to the table. Then all of a sudden, boom, they were the most explosive offense in the NFL. And they set records that year for the NFL, not just Atlanta Falcons records. It was NFL records they set. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. The team has to get comfortable, and there's a lot of youth on this team. There weren't this many rookies playing over there in Atlanta. These guys are going to take some time to get to it. I'm going to bounce it to Nick so you can give us some comments on that, and then to Stefan, and then back to Nick for the Jimmy Garoppolo story while I go make myself.
Go make yourself a drink. All right, so yeah, I agree with you when it comes to the point of Kyle Shanahan. It took 2 years for him to finally get this team hit in Atlanta to get that team off the tracks and rolling, and then they were breaking records and scoring making records, I should say. But the fact of us having more rookies than Atlanta did, I think that's huge, and it falls into that portion as well. Oh shit! Onside kick. Sorry, he missed it. Yeah. So I can't believe the Giants and Kansas City are going to overtime. Like, are you serious? A 1-8 team against Kansas City. You know what it could be though? The Giants played Andy Reid a whole lot in their career. Different coaches though, so I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, I can see the opinion of looking at it as it could take 2 years or 3 years for this team to get really on a roll, but I don't feel that it's going to take that long. Like, I think the parts are actually starting to fall in place now, and I think we're a quarterback away, 2 interior linemen. I think we're more positions away than we were in the beginning that I thought, but I don't think it's going to take 3 or 4 years for us to actually start competing to win these games. I think once we get CJ's been playing well, team has been playing well, they're gelling, but we are missing some key pieces. So I would say if not next year, probably the year after. So I would go with 3 years.
Yeah, I agree. And next year, probably half our offense will really get a grasp of this system. We shouldn't forget there will be some changes after this year. So there will be new players in who also have to learn the system, probably some offensive linemen, which are important. And we need probably a true number 1 wide receiver. So he has to learn the system and the route concepts and everything. And so it's not like Jimmy G has been here like CJ Beathard from April on or May, but he's also just a rookie in the system. So it's probably taking some time next year to see progress, but to really take off, I think we have to wait until 2019.
I mean, more importantly than that, we can't. It's obviously going to take until at least next year. We haven't even seen our franchise quarterback under center yet. It 100% is not going to take off right now. It can't take off this season.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So let's talk about that
next year.
What's that?
Like CJ, it probably when the season starts, Jimmy Garoppolo will be there 10 months. So for Matt Ryan to really function in the system, he took 18. It took him 18 months. So it's not like next season and expect him to be like an experienced guy in the system. So it's still probably taking him a lot more. And I really expect that explosive offense doing stretches next year, but really consistently 2019.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be more comfortable next year, but 2019 is when it's going to really, really hit. Go Hard is in the building. What's going on, baby? Slacks, I see you in here. Happy, hungry, sleepy. Happy, hungry, sleepy. That is a weed smoker's handle if I have ever heard one. Those are the three emotions of a weed smoker: happy, hungry, sleepy. That's it right there. That's boom. That's it. What's going on, man? All right, so listen, guys, let's go ahead and get to this Jimmy Garoppolo thing. All right, so what I'm going to do is going to ask you guys a quick yes or no. I'm going to give my answer, then I'm going to ask Nick yes or no, Stefan yes or no, and then I'm going to spin this thing back around, okay? I'm going to say yes, but do we see Jimmy Garoppolo against Seattle? My answer is yes. Nick, what's yours?
I hope so.
Stefan, what's yours?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right. Okay, so despite CJ having the game of his career, you guys are ready to get his ass out of there and put Garoppolo in right away, huh? All right, I'm going to bounce this one back to Stefan. Let's let Stefan kick this one off and tell us why on earth you would do that. Jimmy Garoppolo finally had an offensive line. Maybe it wasn't him all this time. My man McCarver Jr. is in here. Man,
we should invite McCarver in once we.
Does he want to jump in? McCarver, let me know if you want to jump in. We can DM you the link. You can join us right now, man.
I can send it to him right now.
If he wants to jump in, he absolutely should get on here with us. But Stefan, man, this guy had the game of his life. He had the game of his career. Now you guys are ready to bench him. I'm saying you guys like I didn't say yes to. But now all of a sudden you're ready to bench him? Like, what's up with that? It wasn't his fault. The wide receivers held on to everything. The offensive line protected. He played damn good. And now you want to get rid of him? What's up with that? What is up with that?
It's less because of CJ's performance, but more because we need to see Jimmy Garoppolo before we make a definitive decision on his future. If you remember the start of the season, like around 5 games to really know what Brian Hoyer is. Then he got benched. Then we got to know CJ. Now we know what he is, kind of. And now we have like 6 games left. So that's the last third of the season. And really, we will need that time to really evaluate him in real game situations. And it's just at some point you're running out of time. So it's less because of CJ, but more because we need to see Jimmy Garoppolo. And your first point, you didn't say that Garoppolo should start against Seattle. So maybe we just see him for parts of the game. I don't know, but I can see both guys starting, or the possibility of both guys getting the start.
Yo.
All right. I'm saying I'm not gonna let Stefan off that easy. You can't see both guys start. I could understand why each guy would start, but the question is, all right, forget it. Your head coach, Kyle Shanahan, who are you starting against Seattle? Who are you not who can each of them play? I could even see, honestly, I could see CJ Beathard starting and the game not going his way, or the offense being a little stale or stagnant, and then pulling him and putting Jimmy G in. But I want to know who you're starting. Your head coach, Kyle Shanahan, who you starting?
So I'm coach Kyle Shanahan. I think Jimmy will have had a fantastic bye week, get a little bit of a grasp of this offense. So I'm starting Jimmy Garoppolo.
The best part about that is would CJ's feelings be a little hurt? Probably. But he can't go anywhere. So you got to see what Jimmy Garoppolo has, and to see, I mean, you just got to start him. You can't sit back and wait like till the end of the year. I mean, I know John Lynch came out with Matt Mayoko and said that, you know, they don't really need to. They see what he is. He has all the traits that they want in a quarterback, but you still have to touch the field. No matter what John Lynch says, they're going to have to touch the field with Jimmy G just to see what they have in him. So you got to go with him, man.
All right, so go hard is saying he's still riding with CJ. McCarver said that he's doing some overtime, so he can't join us right now. Slacks is saying he's not starting Jimmy Garoppolo until game 15. All right, and JP last 3 games. I think he meant JG, Jimmy Garoppolo, the last 3 games. So we got 2 people saying we don't need to see Jimmy Garoppolo anytime soon. All right, guys, look, this is where I stand with this. Okay, we didn't trade a 2nd-round pick to let this guy ride the pine. Okay, now if you think that we're not going to play this guy anytime soon, I think you're all mistaken. And the reason is because you have to evaluate him. 1 or 2 games is not enough to evaluate a guy. We're talking about a contract extension. We're talking about giving up a 2nd-round pick. More importantly, we also have to see whether or not this guy can do it in game time in this system, because if not, then we have to pick up someone else in the draft. My man Dillon is jumping. Yo, why does your hair always look so good? What the fuck is going on, man? Where are you coming from? What's up, man?
I mean, I just like to have some good hair whenever I'm anywhere, dude. You got to have good hair all the time.
You got to stop using that natural gel.
Oh, man. All right, so Dillon, the topic of conversation right now is Jimmy Garoppolo. Are you starting him next week against Seattle, yes or no, and why?
Ooh, you're just going to throw a tough one at me right there at the bat. All right. I'm starting him because even though C.J. Beathard just had the game of his career, his short career, I mean, we got to see what we have. And we unfortunately don't have the time that I'd like to be able to see what we have with him. But with where we're going to be in the draft, we're going to either need to know if we need to trade back or take a quarterback. We got to figure out what we have. C.J. Beathard is not a franchise quarterback. All right, he's a good quarterback, but he's not your franchise saver.
Well, I mean, we don't really know that. I mean, we can't, you know. I mean, look at Peyton Manning. Look at Peyton Manning came out his first year. Horrible.
Sure.
I mean, you really can't judge that right now. But I do think that the best option for this team is Jimmy G is a 2nd-round pick. He's been behind Tom Brady. He's played in a few games. His poise, learning from him, I think is going to be better than anything else that's came out of New England as quarterback-wise. But CJ is a perfect opportunity to sit behind him and learn more. And I'm not holding anything against CJ right now because he was thrown to the wolves. I mean, when you have Brian Hoyer, which I praised all year long, hoping that he would get this offense going, being under Kyle Shanahan, was I wrong? Fuck yeah, I was wrong. Right? But I can admit that, right? And I'm not going to say, you know, I was on his jock in the beginning of the year because I kept hearing what reporters were saying and media was saying and this and that. We haven't seen this in so long in San Francisco. I bought into the hype. Bad decision on my part. But I think CJ could be a competent quarterback for a team and could be for us just depending on what we got in Garoppolo. Mike's killing me with those fucking faces. I can't concentrate looking at that.
I'm sorry. I turned around. The Saints just got a touchdown. Next thing I know, they're in the end zone again and about to go for 2 to.
How are you not watching the Chiefs Giants, dude?
Well, because I mean, come on, man. The Chiefs don't deserve to win because of that game. Like they shouldn't be struggling. There you go, Stefan with the real time there.
We beat the Chiefs. That's
Bro,
taking it.
Never happening.
That game's not over, is it? That game's not
Nah,
over, right?
but it's in
No.
OT right now.
Going to play.
All right, so all right, let me read up on these comments really quick. Okay, Go Hard says, "LOL, I see you dealing with that fresh comb fade." All right, people loving the hair. Look at my man, he's slick as shit. All right, Carver Jr. is saying, if we're playing for the playoff spot or something like that, I would keep CJ in. But the way our record is, the best thing to do right now is to see what's up with Jimmy Garoppolo. All right, and then we have Griffin Coldren. Sorry, saying CJ has shown us what we need to see. We have depth. You can't ask for a better script. Starting Garoppolo, Sherman out, Chancellor out, O-line is semi-healthy. You start Jimmy Garoppolo. Listen, man, that's exactly what my next point was going to be. All right, you got Chancellor out, you got Richard Sherman out, and one of those those defensive line. Is it Cliff Averill?
Yes.
I think Averill's out also. Like, dude, if we beat Seattle, bro, it's over. It's over. There will never be another quarterback for the 49ers. Like,
I'm starting
forget
the statue.
I've projected the 49ers to split with Seattle before the season, so we're right on pace.
But see, my opinion.
Are you sticking with that?
Huh?
My opinion on that is,
I was asking Stefan, are you sticking with that? You
Everyone
still
at the
think
same
we're gonna
time. I said we were gonna split.
I said we were going to sweep their asses, but I was fucking totally wrong too. So
You said 12-4.
I did. I pulled that shit right out my butt. I was hyped, man. I was hyped. Every week until we were up to 4, I was like, still got a chance. Still got a chance.
The guys, they are killing Dillon's hair right now. Flag said Dillon's using Soul Glow. All right, so listen, man.
Yo, Steve, why are you in the chat and not in here with us?
Steve is chiming in. I'm going to read his comment, though. He said, Beathard has been horrible in every start. He had one good game against a bad Giants team. We have to see what he's got the rest of the season. I'm right there with Steve, man, because this on the podcast, I didn't finish it up, but there's two ways to look at this. You can say, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is getting better as the season goes on because of his last game, or you can step back and you can say, look, through 4 games, we know this guy is just flat out not good. Out of 5 games, he's had one good game, and that's the other way to look at it. And I'm kind of right there with Steve, man. I mean, here's the truth of the matter is, as that game went on, he did actually get better. You know what I mean? He played better. He was throwing some lobby ass floaters. The ball out a couple of times. That didn't look good. He threw some in the dirt very, very early on, but it seems like he settled down and he kept it rolling. But like, I just don't. He impressed me that game. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I also kept in mind that it was the Giants that he was playing against. I want to get Dillon's opinion on this because see that gorgeous hair up close and personal. But 2, we really need to know like people's opinions on this, because how do you bench a guy who had that good of a game coming back off of a bye week? He had a good game. The offensive line was getting healthy. They got an extra week to prepare for this. Bucks are beat up. You're telling me that you don't think that Beathard can win this game? He can?
Well,
or do you think both of them can win this game? Like, that's – you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the purpose of benching him now instead of letting him win this? Nick, I know you want.
That's what I was going to say. Go ahead, Dillon.
All right, because we aren't playing for anything. Winning is not the most important thing right now. We're just trying to figure out what we have, and if Jimmy Garoppolo can be the future of our franchise, then we need to figure it out as fast as possible.
And I agree with you, Dillon. But I was going to say, what's not saying, damn, how is that not a flag? And that's a catch? Did you see that? How is that not a flag? He's got to be down by contact.
But he caught it.
He's at like the 2-yard line, and there should be a flag for that because he was pulled down.
If you're watching this and you didn't watch the Giants game, you missed something huge.
That's a catch.
Wow.
Wow. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to cut.
Whoa. I'm just getting the play in.
Looks like they're giving him the first on the 2.
Yep. First down on the 2.
That was a catch.
That was a hell of a catch, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but that's a catch.
That is all the way. Look, oh, you guys can't see my screen. That is all the way a catch right there.
Yeah, easily.
That's a catch. All right.
Yeah.
So,
But like,
yeah,
Wow,
Dillon, I
Giants-
agree with you.
The Giants.
I agree with you guys that we need to see what we have because I said that I think we should start Jimmy G. But my feelings on this is Kyle Shanahan gonna make that move this week after CJ played well against a bad Giants team, or is he just gonna say, I have to keep him in there. I don't really need to see more. Let me give one more week of Jimmy G at practice. Blah, blah, blah. Knowing how Kyle Shanahan's been thinking, I think that's what he's going to do. And then once CJ loses again, they're going to throw Jimmy G in. That's what I think is going to happen. Do I hope that happens? Absolutely not.
yeah, I disagree with that assessment. Like, Kyle
That's fine. You're allowed to disagree.
Yeah, if you really look at CJ Beathard's games, is every time he hasn't faced pressure, he was solid, and every time he did face pressure or was running for his life, even he was abysmal. And
That sounds like my flag football team.
Yeah, but against the Giants, there was so little pressure on him that we only saw the solid play. And it was not like CJ played so much better when he was not under pressure compared to the previous games, but he was just less under pressure. So his play stood and fell with the offensive line, and the offensive line was good last week. I don't really think it would be good against Seattle necessarily. They still have some pieces there, Sheldon Richardson and Michael Bennett, for example. And I think with right now, I think Kyle Shanahan sees this as a chance for Jimmy Garoppolo to get his feet wet and to show off his and quick decision making.
Yeah, so here's the thing, man. If you keep CJ Beathard in right now, I think it was Nick that said it. You play him until he actually loses again, then you bench him. It looks like you're playing for wins, and this goes back to what Dillon was saying before that. That's not what we're doing at this point in the season. We're not getting a wild card. We can win out. Steve wants a DM a link. Can you send that to him, Nick? He wants us to DM him the link. Wild card right now. I can't believe the Giants are about to win this game, man. That is absolutely insane to me.
Did they
We beat the Chiefs.
Bro, they didn't even try for the touchdown. They just went for field goal.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you guys. Did the Chiefs have a possession already in overtime? I didn't get a chance to see that part.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the beginning.
Oh, if the Chiefs already had a possession, then that's game.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's game. They won. That's why I said they went down and it was first down, and he just moved the ball close. He just slid across and went closer to midfield for them to kick a field goal.
The fucking Giants just beat the Chiefs. Well, this is the last time you guys are going to see Alex Smith under center.
Hey, just a month ago, Smith was considered MVP. No, but the Giants now won a game. We are back to the number 2 slot in draft position. So,
yeah,
that's good.
They helped us out. They helped us out with that win right there.
Oh, and Ali lost Liverpool.
What was that? I hear someone's TV.
Yeah, Ali picked the Chiefs for his survivor pool, so he is out now too.
Oh man, Ali, that sucks, dude. That was like the safest pick too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ain't worried about it.
So, all right, guys, listen. All right, so let's talk. Let's get back to some 49ers talk here. All right, this is actually pretty fun. I'm having a blast talking random football shit with you guys. God, the Chargers suck. All right, shit. What was I about to say? I was gonna get to something else. The playbook, Jimmy G. Hold on, let me catch up on these comments really quick, guys. Pedigree, I see what y'all mean. Good point. Steve said he'll be home in a few, so we sent him the link. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the season here. What are we expecting to see from the offense? If Nick, if you're talking to us, you're muted. I don't know if you're talking to us or not. He knows he's muted. I don't know what's happening. All right, so let's talk about the rest of this season, guys. I think we all could stand to see Jimmy Garoppolo in there sooner rather than later. And I would like to know what you guys think. Or what do you guys expect from this offense going forward? What do you expect from this defense going forward? We should be getting some guys back now. I think Tank Carradine is penciled in to return soon, right?
Yes.
Carradine coming back. I don't think Armstead can come back. Yeah. I'm not sure about Armstead's status. I know Tank is coming back. There's another player.
If Tank is coming back, then that's the second player from IR, because Blair already came back.
Yeah, so that should be everything right there. What are you guys expecting to see? I'm going to kick it off with Nick. Give me offensive perspective. Let's stick with offense first. What are you guys hoping to see from the offense going forward? Start with the quarterback that you want to start the next game, and what you're hoping to see against that Seattle defense while we're at home.
All right, so I'm hoping for Jimmy G to start, and with Jimmy G starting, I want to see more consistency through the receivers and the running. I mean, obviously the running game too. That starts with play calling, not only just the actions of the running backs, but I want to see more consistency in play calling. I don't want to see more of those 3rd and 2s with Breida. I don't want to see 4th and 1s. I want to be able to get, we need to see more consistency on this offense all around. It's not even just with I want to get more manageable 3rd downs. Like that's one of our biggest things that we've had in all year is the ability on 2nd downs to not allow so much pressure to push us back another 5 or 6 yards to where we get into these harder to manage the 3rd downs than what we've been in all year. I think 3rd downs have really killed us in a lot of games this year. With field position as well as consistency. So I want to see more consistency with 3rd downs, whether it be receivers, play calling, or running backs. So 2nd and 3rds, I'd say. You're muted.
You hear me? All right. You know something that's weird about this team, man? It seems like the 3rd and longs, the 3rd and 8, the 3rd and 9s and plus, we're killing those things. Like, especially last game. Yo, bro, like Kendrick Bourne, fucking Lewis Murphy. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is like? How are these long ass 3rd down drop? Like, my heart was going out of my chest, man. I couldn't believe it. Man. Kyle Shanahan, his scheme is just it's the best in the league. Him and McVay are killing it as far as the offensive play designs right now, man. Those two are 1A and 1B, and I don't think anybody can argue that. I'm really looking forward to it. I see Ali just popped in.
I think Ali and Dillon are sharing the same gel.
Ali's hair. What's going on, Ali? Look at the camera, man. Let me see what's going on.
Look, it's all
I can't believe fucking Casey killed me like this. What are they doing? Andy Reid was retarded. I've never seen more stupid play call in my entire life. Cost me everything, man. Shit.
Yo, but then you say they'll be all right.
I did. It's that blind optimism. Goddamn.
Hey, one of my good friends is a Giants fan, and he just texted me. He's like, "What are we doing?"
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta say something though. This is the first time I'm talking since we got that win. All I want to say is Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana. We up at the fourth, baby. Woo! We got that first dub.
Ali is Ali, man. You're on something right now. That's funny, man.
It's over for you. The survival pool is over for Ali, man. But the Niners got that W. This is first time on the mic since then. Ali, man, I'm gonna ask you what I just asked the fellas. You starting Jimmy Garoppolo or you starting CJ Beathard after that first W? We're going up against Seattle next week at home. Who are you playing and why?
Jimmy G. It's easy. It's easy, Jimmy G, because you got to see what Jimmy G can do. There's not a large enough sample size for him to say definitively one way or another what he can do. I know he's slated in to be the franchise quarterback, but I want to see what he can do. We've seen a little bit of Beathard. He's obviously not going to be the franchise quarterback for this team. That's what Jimmy G was brought in to do. So I definitely want to see what he can do.
All right. And I already read Steve's comments, but Steve is here. I want to let you guys get the opportunity to meet him if you haven't already. My first time talking with Steve on one of these chats. What's going on, baby? And we're expecting from this team. And break it down for us, brother.
What's going on, Mike? Against Seattle, I think Jimmy G is going to start this week. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't start. Beathard, like I said earlier, he played good last game, but one good game. I mean, he hasn't played great. He didn't look good in the preseason, so I don't get why the one good game now. Everyone, you hear it on talk radio. Everybody's saying we got to start Beathard. You traded a second-round pick, an early second-round pick, for Garoppolo, so you got to play him. You got to see what they got. I know they don't really have the weapons. Garcon's missing, and they're not talented at wide receiver, but you got to play them and see how that investment's going to work out. If they need to draft a quarterback early next year, or we franchise tag them and try to trade them.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. Steve, just let everybody know who you are real quick, because just in case, I know you do our fantasy show as well. So, but just let everybody know who you are, where you can be found, and stuff like that. So, without further ado, guys, let Steve introduce himself real quick.
All right, what's up, guys? My name's Steve Mullen. These guys here at Nothing But Niners let me in this year, so happy to be a part of the team. Find me on Twitter. It's at @SMullenJr. Go ahead and give me a follow. I'm always talking Niners, talking fantasy, and you guys are probably going to hate me during basketball season when football's over, but you're going to get your Warriors talk from me too.
I also got to say real quick, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you got to go check it out. I tweeted something about the Browns earlier, and it still has me laughing every time I look at it. You got to go look at it, retweet it. It's awesome. I love it.
I thought that's what got you happy for your hair to stick up like that.
Tell them what your handle is. What is it? Dillon Frazier 98?
Yeah, Dillon Frazier 98.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah,
guys.
so
Make sure you guys go.
I mean, we should do that real quick while we got a bunch of the guys in here. So, Stefan, just tell everybody, for the new viewers and stuff like that, where they can find you as well. And then we'll go to Ali as well, and then Mike, and then I'll finish that up too.
Yes, my Twitter handle is JAV95_. Short and simple.
Short and simple. Ali, what about you, buddy?
Don't follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, no, you need to be followed.
Don't follow me on Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. It's at ALIYZ01, not 08, Mike. 01.
And it doesn't. You don't really have to spell Z out. Okay, just so you know, it's just a Z. So, Mike, go ahead, buddy.
And whatever you do,
just weren't gonna let me slide. Yeah, because even a year later, he'll come back at you for no reason. So, he just likes to start shit on Twitter.
Let's go. It's real life, right? It's real life.
I don't know.
I'm like guap, baby. Feed me.
You guys can find me. I am 49ers Mike _NF. F as a Niners fan, okay? So you guys can follow me there. 49ers Mike.
And I am 49er Faithful 365. So you can check us all out on Twitter, guys. Make sure we didn't give anything else either. You can check out all our articles by all our great writers, man. We got a ton of great writers. NothingButNiners.com. You can check us out on Snapchat, NothingBut9ERS, as well as our Twitter handle, NothingBut9ERS. Mike just drops 2 pods. You can check that out on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play. We are everywhere. So you can check that out. That's Talk 49ers with Nothing But Niners, quote, or parentheses NBN, if you have any issues following that. And as well as YouTube, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like us. We're back on track again this week. So you can check out all of our sessions. We have NBN, Nothing But Fantasy. We have Behind Enemy Lines, and podcast guests and interviews, as well as roundtables. So, but yeah, so Ali, Ali, let's talk about Jimmy G, man.
What do you want to talk about?
While Ali was responding, messages I want to read real quick. Ali Boombaye from Slacks. We got Dillon go to sleep with a plastic shower cap and do-rag over his hair. Don't see them trading Jimmy G unless it's for another second round. If they traded him and got more in return than what they gave the Pats, we wouldn't look good. All right. We got let me see here. Shut the fuck up with boxing, and we demand 49ers live. All right. Gohart says, a real talk. I've been waiting on y'all to do a big group stream. It's been a minute. Good shit as always, y'all. So we're getting some love for the guys for doing this big group thing. All right. So let's go ahead and bounce this back to Ali, man. Pick up where Nick left off. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so Jimmy G, I want to see if he another thing is if in the 3 weeks or 4 weeks that he's been here, if he has understood the playbook, like if how his grasp of the playbook is. That's another thing that I want to see, which is really interesting to me. So I really think he should start against Seattle. And let's be honest, Seattle isn't formidable anymore. That defense is taking a lot of huge hits. I'm getting a feeling about that game now. I really think there's a good shot that we have to maybe squeak out a close one there. Especially if Jimmy plays. I'm really interested to see what he can do. And that's nothing against Beathard, because he balled the fuck out against the Giants. So mad credit to him. But I just need to see what Jimmy can do. And yeah.
So I will.
You a what?
I want to ask a question, everybody, and that is, if the line holds up for either quarterback, different result. Like, so if Jimmy Garoppolo is in, do we win or lose? And with Jimmy Garoppolo, are you saying that we can't win with CJ Beathard? That's my question, because from what I saw from CJ this past week, okay. You know what I mean? He had that one interception pass that was pretty bad, and then he had that pass where he floated one to the back of a defender's head. I think he was throwing it to like Selleck or some shit like that to the left side of the screen. I don't remember who it was to, but he just like kind of floated one out there. But other than that, he did everything else pretty well. He was hitting guys in stride. No one had to really, slow down. The deep pass to Marquise Goodwin was in stride. Are we going to get different results than what we would see with Jimmy Garoppolo? That's my question for everybody. Let's bounce it, since Steve just got here. Let's bounce it from Steve, and we'll go to Stefan, Nick, and then Dillon, and then Ali.
Well, the line held up pretty well for him, so, I mean, that helps a lot. That's going to help him. That's going to help Jimmy G. We can't really say if he's better. We haven't seen what Garoppolo's done. I mean, he looks great in New England, but, I mean, New England's on a different level than we are. So that's why I think you got to get him in this week and see how he looks. If he doesn't look like he's picking up the playbook, or, I mean, the coaches know better than we do. So if he's ready and they know he's ready, they got to get him in. As long as that line holds up, I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I agree. The offensive line is probably the most important part in this. because if he's constantly running for his life, I mean, no quarterback will look good. You can even rattle the Tom Brady's of this world with this. So we need to put a solid performance on the field with our offensive line, and I think if you simply look at the physical traits of Jimmy Garoppolo, he has better arm strength and he has a quicker release and probably gets rid of the ball a bit faster. So I think we should see, even though he maybe may not have the same grasp of the playbook, we should see an effort on a similar level, if not better, because he can make all the throws even outside the numbers, and so arm strength shouldn't be an issue this week, or if he starts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can't say that if Jimmy G was playing last week, we would have won or we wouldn't have won. I haven't really seen him. You guys all know from me, the group chat and stuff as well. I'm not big on quarterbacks that come out of New England. I'm hoping that Jimmy G proves me wrong. Because Bill Belichick's system is a quarterback-type system. It's a Bill Belichick system. The quarterbacks all play well there. We've seen it with Brian Hoyer. We've seen it with Matt Castle. We've seen it with Mike's favorite, Ryan Mallett. We've seen it with, other than Tom Brady. Tom Brady hasn't played anywhere else. I'm sure that he would have be a little different because they're two different. But Mike tried to sell me on that, and he was saying, I agree with that. Listening to Mike's podcast is that these other quarterbacks were late round draft picks, and Jimmy G was a second rounder. There is talent there. The 2 games that he did start, I really like his arm. I really like his pocket presence. But then again, it's New England. And like Steve said, New England's on a different level than us. So if we can get him to play well under pressure, because that's what we need right now, because our quarterbacks need to be able to handle pressure. C.J. Beathard couldn't. He was probably worse than Brian Hoyer was. I know me and Stefan were talking about that earlier. But this quarterback needs to play and be ready for pressure right now. I do like his presence, being able to step up in the pocket or be able to elude a pass rush as well, but I just want to see that on the field. So I can't say that he would have won last week or if we would have lost. But I think it's time to start him to evaluate to see what we need on this team going further. Is he going to be our franchise quarterback, or are we going to have to draft a quarterback high? I still think we draft a quarterback next year. It just depends whether it's going to be really high or in the 5th or 6th or somewhere down that way. So you can't just go out and franchise somebody just because he played in New England system and he hasn't played on your field and he's doing well in practice. Brian Hoyer did well in practice as well. He was 0-5 or 0-6. So I think that's going to be technical for them to do and really important for Kyle Shanahan to do. I don't believe that John Lynch was saying the other day that they don't believe that it's crucial that they start him to pay him because you do have that option of a franchise tag. So that's my thoughts on Jimmy G, man.
Here, before we bounce this to Dillon, Dillon's up next to give us his thoughts, and we'll get on to the next subject. But it's from Armando Espinoza, and he says, "We need Kirk Cousins." Are we still on the Kirk Cousins thing? Like, are we still believing?
Gave that up a while ago.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know. Is that there are some people who just feel like Garoppolo is going to be another Matt Castle or Ryan Mallett there who really believe that he's going to be just like that. And if that's the case, do we still go after a Kirk Cousins? And we don't find that out until we play him, right? That Garoppolo is going to do this season is going to make us still be in the quarterback market in the top 10. So, Dillon, you can go ahead and get to that, and answer the rest of everything else also for me, man.
All right, so I'm answering your boy Charles Clay just got a catch, by the way. I'm answering what would happen if Jimmy G or CJ was in the next game, and what happened in the last one. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
All right. Well, with Jimmy, I mean, obviously he's still trying to learn the system, but I mean, so is CJ. They're both in the process of learning the system. The system Kyle Shanahan has in place takes longer than a year to learn, as you found out with Matt Ryan. To learn it well, at least. And what I think is important about last week, yeah, we were playing a very bad Giants team, but what I've started to formulate as an idea in my head is we always talk about how CJ, Jimmy, whatever quarterback, it's just going to take a while to learn that offense with Kyle Shanahan leading it. We haven't talked about how the rest of the team is going to take a while to learn that offense too. That could very well be why for the first half of the year we couldn't catch anything. People were thinking too much about routes. Now, I'm not trying to give them an out because you should catch the ball. You're an NFL wide receiver. But, I mean, call me crazy, they all looked like they were ready to start catching the ball in the last game. And whether you're playing the Giants or not, catching the ball that's something that comes natural. And they look like they're starting to be able to catch the ball. I think everybody's starting to get more comfortable with Kyle's system, and that's just going to boost the whole offensive performance.
So I want to give my thoughts on that. As far as who we play next week, I honestly don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. And the same thing goes for what happened last week. I don't think it would have been that big of a difference for a couple of reasons. But the main reason is that the reason people are talking about Jimmy Garoppolo not playing is because of him grasping the playbook and how well he knows it. Listen, is known to have one of the biggest playbooks and one that's constantly evolving in the NFL. I don't think a player is ever going to fully know or understand that entire playbook. It's about knowing what you've been given. If he has a good grasp of that, I think the results will be similar. Guys, I don't think CJ Beathard did anything to cause us to lose the game last week. And that's the kind of quarterback play you expect to see from a franchise guy. That's the floor of what you should see every week. The ceiling, though, is something a little different. And that's what you're hoping to see from a franchise guy. You want to see someone go in there and be competent in their work. You know what I mean? Not throwing really bad passes or putting the ball in the defender's hands and things like that. And that's, for the most part, what CJ Beathard did last week. So I can't sit and say what it would be or he has to learn more of the playbook. When I heard that he knew 25 pass plays and 25 run plays a couple of weeks ago, I was like, that's enough to play him. How often do we run 50 different plays a game? You know what I mean? It doesn't happen that often in the NFL. So you mix them up as far as when you call them, have a couple of hots and things like that so you can audible out and let that man go in there and do his thing. It's never been about the playbook. Master what you know and go from there. And if he's comfortable in that, I think that's reason enough to play him. Now, I saw Ali pop back in here. Yeah, Herman Cruz said, damn, guys, it's been a while. Again, another comment about how long it's been since we've done the roundtable. Yeah, we're back, though, man. You guys make sure you check us out because we're going to try to do this a little bit more often. The defense, though. We've talked enough about CJ Beathard, and we've talked enough about Jimmy Garoppolo. I know you guys thought I was going to say Ryan Mallett. But I want to talk about this defense, guys. I want to talk about this defense because we should be getting Tank Carradine back. Armstead is done for the season. Is that correct? Or does he just have a regular injury? I can't remember.
I think he's out for the year.
Yeah, that really sucks. This is his last year too, right?
No,
it's been 4 years.
he has another year.
It's only been 3 years since. Oh,
This was yes, and a possible fifth year.
and then we still have the 5th-year option that we can pick up next year. All right, cool. So Armstead will be back. That makes me feel a lot better, man. I was worried about losing him, but that makes me feel a lot better that he can come back. Yo, so let's talk about this defense and what we expect, guys. We've had a lot of pleasant surprises. We've seen. I can't speak for you guys, but let me go ahead and give you guys my rundown of surprise players. Yeah, I know Nick has got to get going soon, but Adrian Colbert has absolutely been a surprise in that secondary for me. I have been extremely surprised with what he's done. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Akello Witherspoon has surprised the shit out of me. He has played a lot better than what I expected him to based off what we saw with the season and early on in the year when he came in for a couple of plays. Another player that has surprised me is Duzable. The line has been very solid. I've loved what I've seen from him. I expected what we're seeing from Ronald Blair because he's been one of my favorite players. But another player that has surprised me probably more than all of them, and not that he's done anything flashy, he's just not been a liability out there, and that is Brock Coyle. Brock Coyle is playing so well at the Mike linebacker position that we're leaving we're leaving Foster in a different position, and everyone, including our head coach and GM, are saying that Foster is naturally a Mike linebacker. So it's crazy to me that Brock Coyle is holding him off all this time, and he's not a liability out there. So I want to talk about what you guys expect from this defense. Ali, if you're there, I don't know if he's really there or not because I'm seeing like a little silhouette that not there. Then let's go ahead and throw this back to Steve because Steve has been quiet for a while. I know after you sit around and you're quiet for a little bit, your breath starts to stink. So let's get those juices flowing in the mouth and let's start talking a little bit. All right, baby. So all right, Ali is definitely not there. We're going to bounce to Steve. What are you hoping to see from this defense? You can talk about Seattle. You can talk about going forward in general. Don't forget that Tank Carradine is coming back also.
Yeah, Tank's coming back, so that's going to help their run defense, I believe. I mean, running backs are still running all over the Niners, and they got too many injuries. So the defense, I think, it's going to be up and down. They might look good a few plays or half a game, and if the offense isn't moving the ball, they're going to tire out. I mean, how many guys in the secondary are hurt? We've lost 3 safeties. I don't know if Colbert's coming back or how long he's going to be out. You got Armstead out. You're missing, just key players that we had at the beginning of the year where I thought the defense was going to be vastly improved over last year. That now later in the year the injuries are popping up and they're not bad, but they haven't looked as good as I thought they were going to look. They could improve. I mean, they still got work, but like I said, we're playing guys off the street. I mean, we had Tony McDaniel in. Duzable, he's off the street. I mean, these guys weren't projected to be on the roster, and now here we are starting them, and they're getting significant minutes that they're going to get better over time. The more reps they get, the more they're in the system, they'll get better. And then next year, I believe when all the starters are back, see what they do in free agency, see what they do in the draft, it's going to be a much improved defense.
Yeah. I like everything you're saying. Let's go ahead and bounce this one back to Stefan. And then if Nick is there, then we'll go to Nick and then Dillon afterwards. If not, then we'll skip over Nick and back to Dillon. But what are you expecting, man? Tell me what you're hoping to see from this defense, brother.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. The injuries overall, our bad luck was killing us. We were missing Foster for over a month. We were missing Eric Reed for a month. We lost Tank Carradine early. We lost Eric Armstead. We lost Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward. So there have been so many injuries to our projected starters. It really was that core of a defense that really gelled together and improved together. And even Rashad Robinson was started. He's now with the New York Jets. So there have been some surprises. As you said, Adrian Colbert looked really good. Great range. Then Akello Witherspoon really it surprised me. And even Foster is already a top 10 linebacker probably in the NFL. And it's just that there has never been that time they spent together to really gel together. And I think that's what we'll see next season, probably with a few new guys in, but you need to have chemistry and really work together and have your starters actually start the game. So I think if we can get healthy and stay healthy, we'll see a much improved defense because there are already some pieces on there, and I think we have a pretty bright future on defense.
All right, Nick, did you want to say anything, or should we go over to Dillon? I wanted to get your opinions on this 49ers defense and what your overall thoughts are, what you're expecting for the rest of the year also.
I think the defense is finally starting to gel and mend. So I think getting a couple of the key injuries back on the defensive side of the ball will be good. But the young talent, and I mean, the energy that in the beginning of the year when people were like, I was super excited about Reuben Foster. We all were. We all know that. But the energy this kid brings to the field is just a different type of energy level. He is definitely going to be the leader of this team for a long time. He's all over the field. He plays well, sideline to sideline. He's good in coverage, and he's young. So he's got a lot to learn. But if you guys notice, he wasn't playing a lot of middle backer last game. He was playing outside, and Coyle was playing middle. And Salah had said that isn't anything on Foster, but they wanted him to learn the position a little bit more. Not that he wasn't catching on, but other than that, I mean, the defensive side, that's the defensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball is being a lot better in the last couple of games. I mean, we've seen it. They just look like they're starting to mend. I mean, Dumerville's starting to get his position on the team, like what he's doing, getting comfortable with that. DeForest Buckner's just a beast. I just still can't wait. I just can't wait to see if we keep Armstead and what Armstead and Buckner can do together, or get another top pass rusher. I really, really wish we had a Derek Barnett on this team right now. I mean, this was one of my draft crushes. I really wanted him, and I mean, he's doing his thing in Philly. But overall, I mean, I think Leon Hall's been playing okay for playing when he was playing. Kwan Williams is starting to come back down to normal for me. We all know how I felt about Mr. Dookie, Rashard Robinson. I don't have to worry about that anymore. But other than that, I think this defense is in the right direction, man. I do like Robert Saleh. I know that it's his first year as a coordinator, and his play calling is a little bit iffy here and there. But I really like what he brings to the table, and I think the players are buying in on him as well.
Dillon, you're up for your thoughts on defense, and I'm going to give a little recap here also.
All right. Well, I think Stefan said it really well. What I love about this defense is we haven't seen the best of it yet, obviously. But, I mean, there's so many talented players in different positions, but it's like they can never be together at the same time and come together on that field. When the secondary was playing decent, the front of it's just kind of torn to pieces. I mean, there's different parts of the defense torn to pieces and dealing with injury at the same time. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that not only do we have an injury-prone defense a lot of the time, but I also feel like Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch they're not really going to try to take any chances with their players on a year that doesn't matter that much. Don't try to rush them back from injury. So what I'm excited about is I would love to get that top-level pass rusher that we need. We need it desperately. I'd love to get that in there. And that defense, when healthy and all together, you can't forget about Malcolm Smith either. If he comes back, he could be an addition to that linebacker role. If we can get all our players healthy and really just add a top-shelf pass rusher, maybe add a shutdown corner, that'd be nice too. But when it's all together, that could be a defense a defense that's a solid defense to go against every week.
100%, man. I think this defense is actually a lot better than people give it credit for. There's a couple of things I wanted to jump on really quick. I want to respond to something that Steve said. He said that people are still running all over the 49ers defense. And this is true, but there's two ways to look at it, So I'm thinking back to, in particular, that Arizona Cardinal game. And Adrian Peterson went for like 159 on us, okay? But he also had a career high in attempts. It was like 37 attempts to get that 159. So he averaged 4.2 a carry. You know what I mean? But you don't picture Adrian Peterson running the ball damn near 40 times on your team. And then if you look at the Cardinals overall that game, they went for like 167, but it was 43 attempts. That was less than 4 yards to carry when you average it all out. But my point with that is running the ball like us on crazy, but only because our offense wasn't able to put up more than 10 points. You got to remember that when C.J. Beathard came in there, it was 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, just back to back to back like that. And these teams were up. They were like, forget it, let's just run the ball on the Niners. And so if you do that, it's going to kind of skew. Yeah, they're getting rushing yards, but it's not like they're killing us with every time they run. Like last year when someone would run the ball on the Niners, they were easily getting 7-8 yards a carry as a team by the end of the game. You know what I mean? Or now it's 3.5. You can live with something like that. You know what I mean? And usually that 3.5 yards of carries, that involves one that someone broke out for 15, 20, 30 yards on. So something that Nick said I want to talk about too. He was saying that he likes Salah's defense. It's a lot better than what we've been seeing. And I think the biggest proof of that is how who was it that was saying we were injury prone? Was that Dillon, I believe, who was saying that we were injury prone? Able to like kind of plug and play. You know what I mean? Someone goes down, the next guy comes in, and it seems like this team doesn't miss a big beat. You know what I mean? Usually you lose like it's going around right now about the Dallas defense. When Sean Lee is not there, that Dallas defense allows almost double yards per carry on the ground. There's no one player on the 49ers defense that is making that kind of a difference. Not this year. You know what I mean? But for Sean Lee to go out and then people be able to run the ball on Dallas like that, you know what I mean? But with this defense here, the scheme seems to be something that, all right, fine, Nick, you're out, but it's okay because Dillon's going to come in and step in your place, and we're going to be okay. We're not going to get blown out, because Nick is down. And you can say the same for the middle linebacker positions once Bowman was gone. Or Foster was there those first 11 snaps, and when he went away, we still looked like we were okay. Not as good, but okay. It wasn't like some glaring weakness that we had to address immediately and trade for someone. You know what I mean? The one thing that Salah is doing that really, really pisses me off, and I just don't think he's ever going to stop doing it, is dropping defensive linemen into coverage. Tired to see Ronald Blair in coverage. And he actually did a good job on that play. Earl Mitchell or Ronald Blair or Eric Armstead or DeForest Buckner down the field covering anybody at any time during the NFL season. Just stop it. That's just something I don't want to see. I have no desire to see that. I know we've been rocking for a while. I don't know if you guys want to go ahead and jump off of here. Nick, I want to toss this back to you. You want to wrap us up or what? I know you said you got to get going. We've been going for quite some time now. I know Stefan is eating and things like that, and I'm going to go make myself another drink because the well has run dry. What do you want to do, Nick?
The well never runs dry. Ever.
Yeah, well, I got a whole other filtration system back there.
Yeah, I know. So, no, I do want to talk about Ronald Blair though, because my man was impressive. Like, he was really impressive to me. You guys know how much I love that kid. But super excited. But I definitely agree with you. I don't want to see him in coverage. The same thing with Earl Mitchell. There's some things that I see. But I want to try to hang on for about 15 more minutes if we can, because of the fact that one of our good followers, Pedro, wants to join. We met up with him in California. So I told him that I sent him the link. He said give him about 5 minutes or so. He'll jump in just to say what's up to all the faithfuls. I'd really like you guys to meet him, follow him on Twitter as well. Great dude. Just get his little insight as a fan. And yeah, so if we start Jimmy Garoppolo in Seattle next week, I want to ask you guys all this. Do you think we get our second win next week with the injury-plagued Seattle, the Legion of Boo Boo, and everything else going on? So, Steve, what do you think, bud?
They played them well the first game. I mean, they're missing guys in the secondary, but it's not like we got a scary receiving corps. So, I mean, Goodwin's out there. You're playing Lewis Murphy, who they just brought in on the street. I think it's a winnable game in my eyes, but it's not something like we're going to see against the Giants. I don't think they're going to put up 38. Again, it might be a 17-13 win if they do win. But, I mean, Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind lately. They always struggle against Baldwin. It's going to be a game close. They could win, but honestly, I don't think I'm seeing it, whether it's Beathard or Jimmy Garoppolo.
All right. Stefan, do you agree with that? What do you think?
Yeah, I mostly agree. I can see this game going many ways. I think we might be able to put up some points, but I can also see Seattle being solid on defense and holding us to under 20 points. I do think, though, that this is a tight game and a close game, and we might pull a win off. And since my prediction before the season was to split with the Seahawks, I'm going with the 49ers win.
We'll just keep going right down the line. Mike, what do you think?
Here we go. All right. Can you guys hear me? I'm back. Okay, good. I think that we could actually get a win. We're at home this time. Team. I absolutely think that we can get a win. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I wouldn't pick us. I won't be picking us on paper. The one time I stopped picking us, we actually won. That was the Giants game. I am done picking the Niners for the rest of the year. But I do think that we'll get that win. I'm superstitious like that. I'm never picking us again. And yeah, I think that we have a shot. I think the running game is going to be a lot for them to stop. And we're actually be able to double team. I think the strength of Seattle's team with that defensive line, favorable out there, and you have guys like Bennett. And now we can actually double team some of those guys. They don't have so many where we can't double team, and we're leaving guys in one-on-one situations. So I think it plays into our hands. I think that since Shanahan plays against this kind of offense on a week in, week out basis, he knows exactly where the soft spots are when they decide to do half the field is zone, the other half is man coverage and things like that. I think it'll play out in our benefit. 100% I think the Niners can and should get this win next week. I can't believe I said that. All right, Dillon, you're up.
Personally, I think I would say we're getting the win, whether it's C.J. Beathard or Jimmy Garoppolo starting. I think they're going through a lot of injury right now. I mean, so are we, but when it comes down to a rivalry like that, go ahead. When it comes down to a rivalry like that, that's one of those things that you can't take into effect exactly who should win the game. Should doesn't matter whenever it's a game like that.
I'm going to let you finish, but I wanted to say that my prediction of us winning was regardless of if it's CJ or Ryan Mallett. No, I'm kidding. It's Jimmy Garoppolo, but yeah.
But yeah, same thing. Doesn't matter who's starting. I think we have the potential to win that game if everybody's there to play like they should. We can handle that. I mean, Steve said it pretty well. Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind, and I hate saying that because I hate Russell Wilson. But I mean, he's an athletic dude who's making plays all the time. I'd love for us to be able to keep a hold on him, but maybe Reuben Foster can teach him a lesson and sit him down or something like that. But it will be a challenge, but I think we can win it.
Nick, you're on mute.
Nick, you've been muted this whole time, dude. All we're doing is watching the mime live.
There we go. You can watch my. All All right, so I had to mute because my sister's here and she's mad loud. She like talks.
Hey, sister, what's up? Let me see your sister. I'm married. I'm just asking for a friend. Hi, sister. How you doing?
This is one of my 5 sisters.
If you want, hi, how you doing?
You can't see me.
You again. Hi.
I 100% see you. Welcome to the Nothing But Niners show. Are you a 49ers fan?
Yes, I am, and we suck this year. Point blank.
At least you're a fan. Don't you ever give
I'm a
up.
true fan, but we suck.
That's okay. That's okay. We're sucking for a good reason. We get a good draft pick, and then boom, we'll be right back next year. I
At least
promise.
we beat the Giants. We won 1 game.
That's right. We beat the Giants. We beat the Giants who beat the Chiefs. So in essence, we beat the best team in the league.
Yeah, technically.
No, we need to beat the Eagles. We need to beat the Eagles. Then we're done.
I hate living or being around here because there are all these fucking Eagles fans. They're gonna choke anyway. When they're like, "Oh, what about my Eagles this year?" I show them the picture of all the Super Bowl trophies when we were at Levi, and I'm like, "Yeah, talk to me when you get one of these." So
No, they are good this year, though. Yeah.
they'll choke. They always do. Carson Wentz likes the duck hunt, so I don't know. But anyway, so my key to victory this week, as always with Seattle, and if you think back, every game we lose to Seattle comes out like Dillon said. It's Russell Wilson's capabilities to escape the pocket. We can't hold their receivers long enough to either A, execute on the sack on Russell Wilson, or B, execute to keep the receivers on lockdown. So we need to be able to contain Russell Wilson and keep him in the pocket for us to beat them. But I think that this week, our defensive front line is playing a little bit better. With injuries to their defense, I think we can score more points than them. I don't think we're technically going to beat them all around in the game all around. But if we can play a good offensive game with the injuries to their defense and lack of pass rush that they're going to have, as well as secondary, I think we can put up more points than them. So, yes, I think we can pull out a win this week. I mean, do you guys agree on that? Like, with every time we lose to Seattle, it always seems like it comes down either we're getting extremely blown out or it comes down to one last play where Russell Wilson escapes the pocket, throws the ball 40 or 45 yards for a touchdown or a big play on a 3rd and 15 or a 3rd and 12, something like that.
Yeah. I agree with your sentiment because it's really frustrating over the past few years to watch it. Russell Wilson always seems to have some magic up his sleeve. And I agree, we need to contain him. The problem is Russell Wilson is a damn good pocket passer and a top 5 quarterback in this league for me, as sad as this is. So it's going to be a real challenge. I think we need to outscore Seattle, which I think is possible at home. I think our team will be hungry, especially after the first victory and now a bye week. And I think we have a chance. What I don't agree with is that they have a lack of pass rush because they have so many good defensive linemen still, even after Cliff Averill went down. And they have some damn good linebackers that can also blitz and rush the passer. So I don't think we'll face a lack of pass rush, but I think it can be somewhat manageable, so we can pull out the win.
Right.
Yeah, when I was saying lack of pass rush, I wasn't meaning like they have a lack of pass rush. I mean, their key players are down. Seattle definitely produces good pass rushers. You know, they have it all the way across the board. But, you know, with Cliff Averill, Sherman, what's his name? Can't think of his name right now. Yeah, Cam Chancellor being out definitely helps our chances of scoring more points. So, hey, what's up, Ali? ALIYAZ01.
Sorry, I've been having Wi-Fi connections and problems and shit, so popping in, popping back out.
It's the Canadian network.
It's the what?
The Canadian network.
No, man.
So
It's,
Garage.
Ali, I'm going to ask I'm going to ask you this question real quick, Ali. Whether Jimmy G or CJ Beathard play next week with the injuries to the Legion of Boo Boo, do we have a chance of beating Seattle at home?
yeah, of course, man. Of course. We have a chance. We have a chance to win every game here now. I like that. You know,
guys, let me just say, Ali, I don't want to cut you off real quick, but we just had somebody jump in. I just want to introduce everybody. So, guys, this is Pedro. Pedro's a huge fan of the show. Me and Mike met up with him in California. Pedro, if you just want to introduce yourself, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter, and then after Ali's done answering his question, I'll ask you the same question. So, the floor is yours, man. Check, Pedro, check and make sure you're not on mute. We can't hear you for some reason.
All right, he's definitely not muted, but we can't hear him at all. So I'm going to talk until we can get that figured out over there. We're gonna toss it back to Ali. Let Ali answer the question. We can see Pedro, but we can't hear him. So Ali, the question that Nick was asking you was, Jimmy Garoppolo or CJ Beathard, can the 49ers get a win at home next week against Seattle with the injuries to the defensive line in the secondary?
So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. The LOB, there is no LOB anymore. The LOB's dead.
Wow. They brought back Maxwell, didn't they?
Yeah, but he's a shell of himself, man. Let's be honest.
So we getting this W?
Sorry?
W.
I didn't hear what you said there, Mike. I got cut off.
What eat the W's with me, man? Are we eating these W's or what, man? Are we?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just don't call an Uber, bro.
Oh, the Jameis one.
I'm glad you guys caught that reference. Listen. All right. So are you back? I see Pedro, but he's kind of frozen there. I don't know if he's really there or not. Pedro, you there? Mic check, mic check. No? All right, so I'm going to bounce this to Steve. We're going to go down the line. I'm going to hit Steve. I'm going to hit Stefan. I'm going to hit Nick, Dillon, and then back to Ali, okay? Do the 49ers re-sign Carlos Hyde? Why or why not?
They should re-sign Carlos Hyde. Will they re-sign Carlos Hyde? I don't think so. I think they have that we could draft anybody anywhere and there'll be a 1,000-yard running back like they did in Denver. But Carlos Hyde, to me, is the best offensive player we got. He should be re-signed. He should have already been re-signed. But I think they're going to look at Breida, and they drafted Joe Williams. I could see them possibly doing that next year. I don't think they should, but I could see him just letting him go, especially if he wants too much money.
Yeah, so I don't think we don't re-sign him. I think there's a good chance that we re-sign him, and we should re-sign him, of course. He's a really good running back. He has had some injury problems, but those were mostly unlucky injuries, like a broken bone or a sprained AC joint. Those are things that aren't really in your control mostly. And I think when he's healthy and he's on the field, especially this season with some weight loss, he looks really, really good. And despite getting Joe Williams back, who looked great on several plays with quick burst, I don't think we'll let Hyde go. And I think we can work out some deal that's positive for both sides. And I think he will be here for the next 3 or 4 years.
Nick, you're up next, brother. Are we re-signing Carlos Hyde? Yes or no, and why or why not?
Yeah, I was trying to get my freaking mic off. I think we do re-sign Carlos Hyde. I think Joe Williams had problems picking up the system. I think that's why we kind of stashed him on the IR. But I think we do re-sign him. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think we need to bring him in. We need to keep as many players that are half decent on this team, which Carlos Hyde is a top of the line running back when healthy, with especially yards after contact. But somebody who knows this system to help this rebuild move along faster. So we all know that Kyle Shanahan signed a lot of players in the offseason that knew this system to help promote this system. So why not keep a half-decent running back around that he thinks we can probably win with? So I say yes.
That's what I like to hear so far. I think we got 3. Yes, we should. 1, no, we're not gonna though, and that was with Steve. So Dillon, it's on you, man. Should we, and are we, and why or why not?
If we don't re-sign Carlos Hyde, I'm gonna lose my mind, because that would be completely idiotic. Okay, Carlos Hyde has played amazing ever since everybody started talking about how Matt Breida was gonna steal his job. And that hasn't even come close to happening. I mean, he may be in there for a few more snaps every once in a while, but while Matt Breida has made some nice plays, which is more than I enjoy giving him credit for, because I have never even thought about getting on the Breida train, Carlos Hyde is on a different level than Matt Breida. Matt Breida, no, it's Carlos Hyde. We need to re-sign Carlos Hyde, because when we put an actual not abysmal offensive line in front of Carlos Hyde, he is going to run people over. He carries defensive linemen now. Imagine if he doesn't have to do that. He is going to – if we can get a good O-line in front of him, Carlos Hyde can, without a doubt, in my mind, lead the league in rushing yards. Even
Dillon.
in Kyle Shanahan's system.
Dillon, why you all dressed up, bro?
What does that have to do with Carlos Hyde?
I'm just wondering why you all dressed up. You look at Did I miss this?
No, you didn't miss anything.
Huh?
Ali's like all up in his personal space. Like, yo,
I asked one question.
So why are you looking so
I'm
good?
just asking why
he's so dressed up.
Why he's got his dress shirt on, he's got his hair did.
His hair did. That's weird, man.
Maybe he had a job interview or something. But Ali, man, come on, man. you missed the beginning of it. He came in and people were getting on about his hair right away, man. He was slick, you know. He had that something about Mary thing going on. I don't know. But, we were trying to figure out what it was too, man.
I fucked with you. I fucked with you what you said on the podcast there. That floated thing, man. That was solid.
So at least someone else caught it, man. I think you were the only person who caught my little floated reference, but it's all good, man.
That movie's
are you
classic.
bringing back Ryan Hudson said
Sorry, I didn't get that. What did he say?
No, I was talking about the comments. Ryan Hudson said that Dillon went to church. That's why he's all debonair.
Anyways, in terms of Hyde, absolutely, I'm bringing Hyde back. Right now, we have very few weapons on that offense. That the offense runs through Hyde. I see no reason why we should not bring him back. He's shown that he is, for the most part, can stay healthy. through through a season. Look, I just went and cursed him. He's gonna get hurt next game. Fuck me, man. But he's shown that he's durable and that he can stay healthy. We better re-sign him. I'm thinking. I don't know what the holdup is. Is it Hyde, or he just doesn't want to talk extension during the season? I don't know what the holdup is, but we should definitely not be thinking Saquon Barkley with our first round pick, because we already have a good running back, and that's an area where we could address and use it in a different area. That first round pick.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. I think that as far as if we should or should not, I think we all agree that back. As far as whether or not we are going to, I saw somewhere on Twitter that the 49ers and Carlos Hyde were extremely close to an extension, but that was weeks ago and it hasn't been announced yet. Then later I heard that Carlos Hyde didn't want to talk or think about extension until the Niners got their first win. I will say this. If the Niners don't extend Hyde by the conclusion of next Sunday's football game against the Seahawks, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the teams and the agent have a figure in mind. I think they are each aware of it. And I think that the 49ers are trying to decide of whether or not Carlos Hyde is worth bringing back. Other things being said about him from our head coach and our GM every time they get a chance to speak in public. And those are throwing up red flags to me. Kyle Shanahan was just talking about how much he loved that his running back said that he didn't want to talk about his contract, that he was thinking about wins. And he was like, I love that about him, and I think that everybody in this team should think the same way. I think the same way. And I'm thinking to myself, like, of course you think the same way. You have a 6-year contract left in his. There's a big difference. So, yeah, of course you think that way, but Carlos Hyde doesn't. You know what I mean? And so cliche that I'm like, damn, they really aren't bringing him back. You know, I thought they were up until I heard Shanahan say that. And so, sure, if they bring him back, man, if it doesn't get done by the conclusion of next week's game, I don't think that they bring him back. I don't know.
Why do you set this deadline, this imaginary deadline that if it doesn't get done by next week's game?
Hyde always seems to go off against Seattle. For whatever reason, Carlos Hyde is one of few running backs to have consistent success against them. I think he's going to do it again, and because of that, I'm not sure why they don't do that. If they don't extend him after he has a good game against Seattle, which I think he will, then I just don't think it's going to happen at all. They have no reason not to. Like I said, the rumors from, I don't know if it was Schefter or if it was Rappaport or there's another guy. I can't remember who it was, but there's 3 guys that usually leak out very good information. And one of them said that the 49ers and Hyde were very close to a contract.
Glazer, maybe?
Who was it?
Maybe Jay Glazer.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, those are the 3 guys. It might have been Glazer, but one of those 3 guys said that the Niners and Hyde were extremely close in contract negotiations, but that was probably a month ago.
Jason LaConfora was it, I think.
Oh, that's the 3rd guy I was thinking about. Schefter, LaConfora, and Rappaport. Those are the 3 guys who were pretty like lock solid. And one of those guys said it, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, we're gonna extend Hyde." Hyde put up a tweet like a week ago, and it was like, "I'm all smiles" or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh shit, you got your extension." No report has come out still. Like I said, I think that everybody knows the figure. I think the team said they're okay with the figure, but for whatever reason, they haven't pulled the trigger. So, you know, I'm at a loss. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Steve, I want to bounce this to you, man. Let's get ready to wrap this up. We're gonna go around the room really quick. Final record predictions. I know it's early, but we got our first win.
All right, good.
All right. For the season, I think they are going to finish 3-13. I think they got a chance to beat Houston. And even though Jacksonville's defense is really, really good, their offense is terrible other than Fournette. So I think they can beat Jacksonville and Houston.
Yeah, I think we might even win 3 games. I've watched the Rams game against the Vikings today, and there are ways to slow Jared Goff down and this offense. And I think Kyle Shanahan knows best how to shut such an offense down. The problem is there are no surefire wins, right? So we could lose all 6 games. We could lose 2 games and win 4. I think we won't have a chance against Jacksonville, and the Titans game, we shouldn't have any say in that either. But I think we can win against the Rams. We can win against the Seahawks. We can win against the Texans and Bears. There's a possibility too. I think we'll win 3 games: Rams, Seahawks, Texans, and then we are back to 4 wins. Don't know how that impacts our draft position. We might fall out of the top 3, but I take 4 wins over the top 3 draft pick.
All right, so I went from 12-4 to 7-9 to.
Wait. Give me 1 second. Wait. Before you answer, so Steve, you said 3 and 13. Right? Did you say the 3 teams you thought we could beat? Well, the two other teams, because we have the Giants already.
Houston and Jacksonville.
Houston and wow, holy shit, Jack! Have you been watching football this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, no problem. Stefan, you said 4 and 12.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Stefan.
Yes, 4 wins, 3 to go. So Rams, Texans, and Seahawks.
Rams, Texans.
This is optimistic though. So realistically,
no, I get it. I'm just making notes. That's all.
Yeah.
This is Stefan.
All right. So we got 3 and 13, 4 and 12. I'm gonna agree with Steve on this. I think we can beat Jacksonville. I am, and I've been watching football all year as well.
I don't know what y'all look at that.
I don't agree with Stefan. I don't think we can beat the Rams. I think the Rams are just similar, firing on all cylinders right now. It depends. I do think we can beat Houston. I've said that from the beginning of the year, and I think we beat the Bears. I think the Bears, Houston, Jacksonville. So I'm going 4 and 12 too. So opposite of what I wanted in the beginning of the year. Dillon, Mr. Slickback, Mr. Hey, I use fresh gel.
So Nick is going from 12 and 4 to 4 and 12. Giants, Jacksonville, Houston, and Bears. Okay.
All right.
That's Dillon.
Record prediction: 7 and 9.
Dilly.
Wait, you said we're going 7 and 9?
No,
we're winning out.
Just kidding. 3 wins.
I was gonna say you better take that shit to Saturday Night Live.
I had to do my best Nick impression.
Yeah.
So
just say
All right. Obviously, we already got the Giants. I think there's 3 teams that we have a chance of beating for the rest of the year, and it's definitely not Jacksonville in my mind, and it's definitely not the Rams. I think those will be bad games for us. But the Titans, the Texans, and the Bears are going to be toss-ups, and I think we could win potentially all 3, but realistically, We could also win that Seahawks game, too. I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I forgot about the Seahawks game. I think if Jimmy G starts next week, we win that game in Seattle.
My problem is I don't want to win all these games. I want to beat Seattle, then I just really don't even want to win.
Wait. If Jimmy G starts next week, Nick, you have us winning 5 wins? You guys going 5-11 then?
I have us beating Seattle. I don't think we beat them. No, listen. I don't think we, like I said earlier, I don't think we beat them as all around, like overall with, yards, like beat them overall coaching wise. But I think we score more points than them next week because of the injuries that they're suffering right now.
Right, but
I think Kyle Shanahan exploits that because that's something he's good at.
What if CJ Beathard plays?
Still the same. I think there's a possibility.
I'm writing it down. That's the only reason why I'm pressing you on this because first you said
mark me down as a win. Mark me down as a win next week. So go 5-11.
So you got us 5-11. That's with all right. So you got us the Giants, Jacksonville, Texans, Seattle. So you got us 5-11.
Yes.
Nick, you found a way to be the most optimistic person on this panel.
Hey, I said 7-9.
I knew you could do it.
Yo, Dilly said 7-9. Don't hold that shit against me.
He was mocking him though. He was mocking him.
All right, I want to bring back my prediction. I think we can. We already got the Giants. I think we can take down Seattle next week, and I'm gonna stick with 3 wins, and I'm gonna give us that other one against the Texans. And that's all I'm going to say for us.
All right, so Dillon took off the Titans and added the Texans in their place.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
That's very interesting. Yeah. All right, so let me tell you guys the remaining games just in case. We have the Bears, we have the Texans, we have the Titans, we have the Jaguars, and we have the Rams. The beginning of the year, I would have said these are all winnable games, just so you guys know. The beginning of the year, I would have thought they were all winnable games. So, guys who win already, Dillon, Nick, Stefan, and Steve, do you guys want to change anything knowing the remainder of the schedule?
Nope.
Everybody good? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you want to change. Thumbs up, you good? Stefan's good?
I might switch to Titans-Jags game, though.
Oh, same record.
Yeah, same record.
Take off the Jags.
I think one of those games are going to be like we're going to win or lose one of those games between the Titans and Jags. We're going to win one of those games.
I like it.
I'm keeping the record, but let me tell you right now, the Rams game is winnable because if the Rams are going to make the playoffs and say clinch the division, they're going to rest guys.
That's true.
So
we could realistically win that game. I forgot that was the last game of the season.
It's a first-year head coach. I don't see him resting. I don't think he has that kind of.
If they,
I don't know. Maybe
they're close to winning the division right now.
If they get a first round bye week, they won't rest guys.
If they get a
first round bye, no.
If they get a bye, they will not. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll put a little asterisk next to Steve's prediction here. Steve is up here with 3-13, and then I'm going to put Rams if rest. All right, Ali, you're the man. Take it away, buddy. We already got one. We're 1-9 right now, Ali. How do you have us finishing up and against who?
Do you mind quickly reading off the schedule, just banging it off?
I got you. So when we come back on November 26th, we are at home against the Seahawks. Right? Then we travel on the road to Chicago. Then we are on the road again. Then we are back at home against the Titans. We are back at home again against the Jaguars. And we close out the season on the road in L.A., which is honestly another home game. So in L.A. against the Rams.
I'm gonna say if this is a caveat on my record prediction. If Jimmy G starts, we're winning the Seahawks game. We're winning the Jags game. We're gonna win the Bears game. and we're going to win the Houston game. We're going 5-11. And that Rams game, like these guys mentioned, it's very possible that they
What was the last one?
Houston.
You said something about weather. Did you say?
No, I didn't say anything about weather. So I said I got the Seahawks, the Bears, the Texans, and the Jags.
Okay, so those are your 5 wins because we already beat the Giants. So
Yeah,
you got Seahawks.
And the caveat game, like these guys mentioned, if the Rams are sitting players, which I think they will, because I don't see them getting a bye with the way Minnesota and Philly are playing, and New Orleans. So I don't see them getting a bye. They will probably resting players. So that's a good revenge game for us to get them back for beating us in our house earlier in the year. So it's definitely possible that we could pull that one out. And you know what? I'm going to go against whoever said that I don't want to win these games. I understand the draft pick, but hell yeah, dude, I want to win these fucking games, man. Like, because I get it, but holy shit, he made a 62-yard field goal.
Wait, who?
Gostkowski just made a 62-yard field goal.
Wow.
So again, what was I saying about the? I want us to win these games. Like we're still gonna get. There's no definitive number one pick. I understand we could, if we keep losing, we could trade that pick back. But right now, there's no definitive number one pick. We're gonna get a great player at wherever spot we are, 5, 6, wherever. And if there's a quarterback still sitting there, you bet your ass that we're going to be trading back and accumulating some more picks. So I'm okay with winning all. I'm okay with winning all these games.
I want to just remind everybody of something real quick. When Philly traded with Cleveland to go get Carson Wentz, they wanted their franchise quarterback. They sent their first rounder that year, their first rounder the next year, and then some change in picks. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think there was a second-round pick in there somewhere.
I think it was a 2, a 3, and a 4. They traded away the whole
They traded away
first,
everything.
a second, a third, and a fourth.
That's irrelevant.
I disagree. Okay, if we're trying to rebuild, do you know what all those picks can do for a team trying to rebuild?
Of course, dude. Of course. But here's my thing. A pick is a pick. You eventually have to turn that into a player. And
John Lynch has done phenomenal at that.
Yeah, I get that, but like,
I mean, Adam Peters.
But what's more important for this team is to start setting the foundation for next year and the winning culture. Because we finish this year like I think we're going to finish it. We're coming in hot next year, and we are going to be adding pieces, and we have again the most cap room. So all these picks are nice, but I want to keep winning games.
Yeah, and if I might add, even if you have a lower pick or not as many picks, if you have a great talent evaluator like we have in Adam Peters, who's learning now John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, even at a lower spot or with less picks, they can still find some really great players that can set us up very well for the future. So yes, I'd rather win 2 or 3 games if that costs us 2 or 3 spots in the draft.
All right, let me give my little rundown here really quick, and then I'm gonna respond. First of all, before I get to that, I agree with Ali, with Dillon, which is weird. To sum it up, it's It's not about where you pick, it's about who you pick. And if we have the number 5 pick overall instead of the number 1 or number 2, we have enough ammo to trade up if we want to. You know what I mean? So if there's a player that we really feel like is going to change the franchise, we have seen enough from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan to know that they're going to do everything in their power to move up and get that player. So if there's one guy out there that if it's like, oh my God, we absolutely must have Bradley Chubb, they'll trade up to get Bradley Chubb if they feel like someone else is going to get him before them. And I think that they'll rest comfortably knowing that they went and got their guy. And so with that being said, I think you play as much as possible. And the reason I said that because Ali is saying you play and you just make the right pick. Dillon is saying if you got a guy that you know is your guy, you go and you get him. And so the combination of the two is you play, you win, and wherever you end up in the draft is where you end up in the draft. But if you see a guy that you like, you trade up and you go get him. And so I think that that's what's going to happen. I think the Niners right now are in desperate, dire need of a pass rusher. I think that is the one spot on this team that everybody will agree with is lacking. So you trade up, you go get who you want. As long as Jimmy G is who we think he is going to be, the board. All right. After Bradley Chubb, I think lineman is the next thing. And I don't think you have to trade up to get the next good lineman because there's 3 good ones there. Between the teams going for quarterbacks ahead of us and teams going for pass rushers ahead of us, I think linemen are going to fall in our lap. So there's no need to trade up there. So you absolutely play to win. And let me go ahead and give you guys my record prediction here. Game by game really quick. I think the 49ers are going to beat Seattle. All right. The injuries, the momentum coming off of the bye week, I think we're gonna win. I don't care who the quarterback is. The 49ers against the Bears, I think we're gonna win. The Niners are gonna have a 3-game winning streak. I can't believe I just said that. We're gonna beat the Texans. That's 4 games in a row I have the Niners winning. We're gonna lose to the Titans, we're gonna lose to the Jaguars, and we're gonna lose to the Rams. Now, I know that sucks. I don't have about the Rams game. I don't care if they're resting people or not. I think we're gonna lose that game, and it's for no reason other than draft position at that point. I think that the Niners are going to be experimenting with players, just seeing who we have as far as depth. Even though most of our depth has been tested already this year, I just don't think that even if the Rams are resting players, I don't think we're going to do it. I will say this though, and the Seahawks game. I honestly think the Niners can win pretty much all of these games. And I know I picked us to beat Seattle, but with their injuries right now, if the Seattles were 100% and we were 100%, I would say we don't have a chance. But with the injuries that they have, specifically in the secondary, I think Shanahan is smart and intelligent enough to scheme a defensive plan to stop that. So that's why I think we're going to win this or this game that's coming up. But for the most part, I don't think we beat Seattle this year. But the Bears is a winnable game. Houston is a winnable game. I'll be honest with you guys, even the Titans is a winnable game. The reason I don't have the Titans because their playoff hopes are going to be on the line. We are going to get 125% of what that team has. That team is 6-4, and to win out in order to get a good position in the playoffs in their division are also at 6 wins right now. And they're going to be playing their hearts out. That Jaguars defense is 100% for real. And so I think that Jaguars defense, did you guys see what they did to the Lions? Like that defense is for real. And so I don't think that they're going to be pushovers in any least bit. But as far as the Rams, that defense is not what we thought it was. Titans
the Rams defense?
Huh?
The Rams defense?
No, that Rams defense isn't as good as it should be. Absolutely not. There's so much more potential in that.
Over the
Rams defense.
Over the past few games, they are leading the league in points allowed. They are 3rd in yards allowed, and they are what was the last set? I don't remember. They are right now. They are the best defense in the league over the past few weeks.
No.
They are getting together
in a small window. In a small window, yeah, they are the best defense in the league in a small window. But you have to look at what's been happening. They've also been the hottest offense, which is forcing teams to pass, which is allowing them to go crazy with the pass rush and just all that kind of plays a toll. Look at what happened when a game was close. Those boys. You know what I mean? That game wasn't as close as that game wasn't as bad as what we thought it should have been. And who was Minnesota's quarterback? Case Keenum.
You have the best wide receiver duo in the league in Adam Thielen and Stefan Diggs. And Kyle Rudolph is still at of course. But who is the best wide receiver duo in the league?
Oh my God! I mean, Houston has a
good one and Aldrick Robinson.
we got to boot Dillon after that. He's got to get booted. No, listen. My thing is, see, talking injuries, maybe I can give you that. But the Giants have a better wide receiver core than what they do. The Cardinals have a better wide receiving core than what they do. The Redskins have a better wide receiving core.
I mean, right now,
Cardinals
healthy on the field.
I would take.
Who's better?
I would take the Cardinals wide receivers over the Vikings wide receivers.
Larry
I would do that in a heartbeat. Larry Fitzgerald, the Browns. Like there's what's the other guy's name over there? Come on, Nelson. Absolutely, I would take Nelson and them over Thielen and.
You're crazy, Mike.
Yo, what are you? You know what? You guys are supposed to be the draft expert, the fantasy experts, whatever. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue with any of you guys. Here's my point. Here's my point with all this. Okay, it was that the Rams only were so good on defense because their offense was so explosive and putting up so many points. For that, okay, you know that when a team can put up a lot of points, it forces the opponents to throw the ball, which lets your defensive linemen go after the quarterback, and it lets you drop back 6 guys in coverage. Of course, you look like you have one of the better defenses in the league. Once you stop them from doing that on offense, which I think the Niners are capable of doing, even though we didn't do it the first game, but I think the Niners are capable of doing, control them a lot more. And if we're able to do that, I think that game is very winnable. That Rams defense is not as good as what it's been the last 3 seasons. Right now, that Rams defense is not as good.
Hey, Mike. So the Rams are actually I just had them here. 14th in the league. The top 5 are actually Jacksonville, Denver, Minnesota, Carolina, and Baltimore.
Yeah, I can see that, except for Baltimore. Baltimore's had some duds, but I think Baltimore has 2 or 3 goose eggs, 0 points allowed games, and that's helping them a lot. Baltimore, for some reason, just manages to shut out people every 4 weeks. I don't know what the fuck is up with that, but
the Rams are allowing 18. The Rams are allowing 18 points a game.
They just beat Packers 23-0.
Yeah. So my point is that the Rams defense isn't as good as it was in years past. All right. Before they got Wade Phillips, that Rams defense was significantly better. You couldn't run the ball on them and you couldn't throw on them. That Rams defense was holding teams to like 11 points a game. It was something ridiculous. They're not as good as what they once were. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that they're not as good as they were, and I think that we have a chance in that game. Defense is for real. Titans defense is ass. That Texas defense is ass. That Bears defense is better than average. Defense right in the same category I would with the Rams defense. All right, they're good, but we can do something with them. And that Seahawks defense is in that same category as well. That Seahawks defense has not been as good as it was, but they're still good.
What did you have us finishing?
I got us with 4 wins. I have us with 4 wins.
4-12. Ali, you had us as what? 5-11.
Yeah,
5-11.
Ali has us 5-11. Dilly has us 3-13. Nick, you got us 5-11. Stefan has us at 4-12, and Steve has us 3-13.
All right, so a little mix of both.
Yeah, it's actually going to be good to see how this team ends up. Like I said, this team can. I wouldn't listen about ceiling. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers ran the table. It wouldn't surprise me. I would be happy as shit, but I would be mad about.
Before we get out of here, can I get everyone's who are the Pro Bowl players on this team? Everyone who do you think?
Wait. Great question. We're going to get right back to that. There has been a long debate going on in the chat right now
about Fournette. I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, let me just settle this really quick. Armando Espinoza has been saying the Niners have to trade for Leonard Fournette. Go. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it. They're not letting him go. That's like saying the Patriots need to trade and let go of Tom Brady. It's not going to happen. We have a better shot of getting Andrew Luck than we do of getting Leonard Fournette. Agree with what I'm saying right now? Dillon, no. Steve,
I
no.
don't think it will ever happen. Yeah, it definitely won't ever happen.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So, of whether or not he would make our team better, there are tons of players in the NFL that would make our team better. Doesn't mean that we're trading for them. It's not going to happen. So I don't want to waste a lot of time delving into that. We're not going to get it. So, Ali, that is a great question. Pro Bowl voting is going on right now. Guys, make sure you go and vote for your favorite players, all right? So, Ali wants to know who are the current 49ers Pro Bowl players, guys.
You want me to go first?
Go for it.
All right. I think we have two. So the first one is obviously DeForest Buckner, and that's going to be resounding DeForest Buckner from everyone. He's just been a freaking monster, man. Just you got to love Defoe, man. And I think our second one that will emerge throughout the year, because as I said, the offense runs through him, is Carlos Hyde. I think Carlos Hyde will make the Pro Bowl. So those are my two.
Can I ask a question before we continue? Are we talking about Pro Bowl first ballot Pro Bowlers, or once people start dropping out, who's going to make it in?
First ballot.
Oh shit! Let me readjust my list. All right, Dillon.
All
Dilly
right.
Dilly.
I'll give my first ballot and then my after. First ballot, we'd be lucky to get Defoe in there. I don't think he will. Look, I love DeForest Buckner, and I think he is one of the best defensive tackles in the league right now. But I don't see him being the first ballot Pro Bowler this year. I think easily he'll make it in there by the end of it. But then I don't think there's anyone else.
Okay. All right, Nick. Any Pro Bowlers for us? We're gonna go Nick, Stefan, and Steve.
All right, I gotta go. DeForest Buckner, and that's it.
All right, Stefan.
Yeah.
Can you be wait? So Ali, you had Buckner and Hyde, right? Okay. All right, go ahead.
So
Stefan.
I think DeForest Buckner will make it, and even as a first ballot Pro Bowler. But I think it's close because no one is watching the 49ers. It's tough to get players in because it's going by overall or total votes, I think. As much as I love Carlos Hyde, I don't think he'll make it as a first ballot Pro Bowler. Maybe as a guy who replaces the guy who replaces the guy.
Playing the dude disguised as the dude.
I just don't think he's good enough to be first. There are so many good running backs in this league that I don't think Carlos Hyde will make it in the first run. And then it's getting grim. Maybe, just maybe, it depends. If Reuben Foster really balls out the last 6 games and brings himself into a national conversation, he might get in as linebacker. That's a maybe. So I have DeForest Buckner, who should make it for sure. Reuben Foster, maybe. And Carlos Hyde, a big maybe.
Okay. All right. Steve, break it down for us, brother.
All right. I was going to say 1, DeForest Buckner, but I'll change it up since everybody's going that route. I'll say 2 and make Trent Brown.
Like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe no one said anything
Wow.
about
He got me.
I totally
Wow.
I forgot about him.
Steve dropping bombs.
He's on my list ahead of Buckner. I can't believe no one said it.
I totally forgot about him.
Yeah, me too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I gotta go vote for him right now.
Trent Brown should make it.
He said, "I got to go vote for him right now." All right, so yeah, exactly. Like even Go Gators, who by the way said Go Cowboys in here earlier, was like, wow, like he couldn't believe that nobody said Trent Brown. All right, so I'm glad you are thinking logically. I don't know, maybe it was the drinks in me that was causing me to think of Trent Brown right away. Whatever. So number one, for sure, number one is Buckner, and then Robbie Gould is another number one. I think they're also. No one's thinking about kickers. I get it. It's not a flashy thing. Those are my three guys that I would say are number one. Kickers need love too. Exactly. Another guy that I have.
They still pick a fullback. I'm going to take Juice because who's got fullbacks in the league other than the Niners?
Yeah, there's not a lot of fullbacks, but Juice has got like 3 or 4 turnovers on the year.
I could
so.
see him making it just because there's not any competition.
No,
yeah,
the Patriots fullback.
What about our long snapper?
Kyle Nelson, but he's a tight end also, so other guys that play tight end, long snapper. I don't think he would make it in. But wait, I'm not done my list. Hold on, I have a few more guys actually. So my ones are Brown, Buckner, and Gold. My one with an asterisk is Joe Staley. That high up is one because he's a no name. Hear me out. One, he's a no name, and two, as soon as he came back, the Niners allowed 0 sacks. Not how he's played all year long, but you have to remember how this is done. This is based off of 1, coaches voting, 2, players voting, and then 3, fan voting. So you remember that order. I think every coach in the league respects Joe Staley. I think Joe Staley and Joe Thomas are looked at as 1A and 1B position. I think players look at him the same exact way. And then there's the fan vote. That's why I think he's going to get it. What left tackle are they taking over Joe Staley?
What's his name from Dallas?
Tyron Smith.
They're just going to say a Dallas lineman. Like, no one even knows who the Dallas lineman or the left tackle is in Dallas. They're just going to say his name. But Joe Staley is a known name. But either way, those 3 guys.
Mike, you watch football, bro?
Trent Williams from Washington.
No. Stop just naming random guys, okay? No. Trent Williams.
Random guy?
He's really Joe Staley has had by far the worst season that he's had as a Niner ever.
Yeah, but he came back, and then we immediately allowed 0 sacks and only 2 pressures. I'm not saying that he deserves it.
How many sacks did we let up when he
basing off one game that C.J. Beathard's a Pro Bowler?
Yeah. No, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is, you get into the mind of how these people are. Like Joe Staley, oh, he's okay. Then he's gone for a game. We have our worst game as an offensive line. He comes back the next game, and we have our best game as an offensive line. They're going to be like, wow, Staley is
Dallas.
He wasn't the only one out. Brandon Cooks just destroyed Oakland's secondary.
Listen, you guys are going to sit here and keep going on and on and on. Let me give my list
real quick. Let's think about this. What Mike is suggesting is going into the Pro Bowl, the 2 tackles on the Pro Bowl offensive line are going to be from the abysmal 49ers offensive line.
Yeah, because the interior of our line is ass cheek. Bro, if you were to tell me, listen to me. If you were to tell me the Niners are going to keep 2 of these offensive linemen for the next 5 years, who are they going to be?
Trent Brown.
And Staley. No one's going to say. I said 2. I said 2. You're all. I love Kilgore.
For the next 5 years, I'd rather take an Eric Magnuson or a Brendan Fusco over Joe Staley, who's already 34 years old, and in 5 years will be like Tom Brady. But without
you would take a 5-year Joe. You would take a 39-year-old Joe Staley over Fusco.
Joe Staley's gonna be dead in 5 years.
No.
Dead as a football player.
I'm done with y'all. I still have 2 more guys. I have 2 more guys that are going to get in after players say they don't want to go.
Good Lord.
I have Trent Brown and Buckner and gold as my first ballot guys. The 1A, maybe one of those guys when someone drops out. Fine, I'll give him that. Then I have Foster and I have Hyde. The reason I have Foster is because actually getting a lot of national media hype. All right? There are a ton of coaches who wanted Foster but didn't want him in the first round. Already know who he is. The players know who he is, and the fans damn sure know who he is.
Hold on. I got a question. I got a question for you guys. Is it NFC versus AFC, or is it those
Yes.
fancy teams?
No. It's back to
NFC, AFC again.
back to NFC versus
So
AFC. They're not doing this.
So my question is, in the NFC, who are the running backs that are making it over Hyde?
Todd Gurley.
Okay.
Gurley,
one.
Zeke,
Ezekiel Elliott.
No, not after the 6-game suspension.
he'll still make it.
He's a Dallas.
No, Elliott will still get the votes, but you guys got to remember that 4 running backs make it.
Yeah.
3.
It's only 3?
Yeah, Ingram.
Okay. No, man.
Yeah. Or Elvin Kamara.
Ingram has been a beast.
One of the Saints running backs will get
You
in.
can't shoot down Ingram after the year he's been having.
I'd say Kamara. I'd say Kamara over Ingram, to be honest with you.
Either way, that's what he said. He said
Not over Hyde. Not over Hyde.
A lot of people were high on Howard also early in the season also.
Howard's been good too.
Yeah, a lot of people were high on Howard as well.
My starting quarterback for the Pro Bowl is going to be Peterman.
Okay, go to sleep.
With 5 interceptions
I'm out of here,
in the first half.
I'm going to feed my kids. You guys have fun
All
with
right,
this.
guys. Yeah, I'm getting out of here too. So,
Ali, that was a great question. I think the Niners can have anywhere between 2 and 5 people representing in the Pro Bowl. And based off of what you guys said, 2 is the ceiling. So let's see what happens. I hope it's 3, just so I can rub it in all of your faces. Oh, and by the way, one more thing I have to do before I get out of here. This is about boiled chicken. Let me just get this off of my chest really quick. All right? I want you guys to know.
No, it's boiled chicken with no seasoning.
With no seasoning.
Yeah.
I want you guys to know that Clay only had 3.1 points. You were all right.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Only Nothing But Niners knows about that, but very, very, very
Else
good.
just thinks that was a weird conversation.
Dave Lopez is out of here. Thank you guys for getting in here, man. Go Gators. Thank you very much. Ryan Hudson. Guys, for taking your time out. Check in with us. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys know when we're jumping on here again, because we will be back soon. This was a ton of fun. I might be jumping on Periscope later. I feel like having a cigar. I might go sit outside for a little bit. Sign us out, man. Go ahead and take us away, baby.
Yeah, man, guys. Once again, Nothing But Niners crew always doing their thing. Appreciate everybody that follows us. Make sure if you don't follow us or the people that are in here, make sure you hit them up. They've already given you your Twitter handles, ways that you can get on them. Check out the articles on nothingbutniners.com. Above all else, stay faithful. We out.